One of the best things that you can do for your brand is to start a YouTube channel because you have so many options with this. Creating content on a YouTube platform not only gives you access to Google search because Google owns YouTube, but it also allows you to invest into your community, start that conversation, really develop trust with them, and bring in paying members of your community to hire you for your services or for your products, in addition to being able to monetize the content you're putting on the internet. So you have the ability to make money off of your content, but also to bring in people who are going to pay you inside of your business. And this is going to be really, really fantastic because it is searchable content. YouTube is owned by Google, so when people are both Googling things and YouTubing things, they're going to be able to find your videos. Now, there are certain requirements to get to monetization, but we'll get to that in a few minutes. And we're going to break down in this video everything you need to know from starting that YouTube channel from scratch, from actually setting up your YouTube, to the technology you need right now in order to do it, and the technology you can grow into as you go. Now, I am a person who has done multiple successful YouTube channels, so I'm going to break down everything I've learned over the years so that you can skip some of those hard or messy steps and get a little bit closer to that monetization and to bringing in your paid customers. So when it comes to your YouTube channel, I highly recommend you pick a very specific niche. Your goal with this is to bring in people who are going to be your ideal clients, so they need to be able to understand what your content is going to be. That means if you have multiple things that you do, create separate YouTube channels. For example, I am a social media marketing educator and speaker. I teach people how to use social media to grow their businesses, but I'm also a multi-time best-selling fiction author. And people who are going to want to come and learn about my books are not going to care about learning about social media. And people who are coming to learn how to market their business online are not going to care about fiction books that I've written. So I keep these very separate on my platforms, and I've been able to develop very strong relationships with both of these groups of people. And while I do have some crossover, keeping them separate allows me to grow a lot faster, stronger, and better because people can understand what they're going to expect and what they're going to get out of my channels. Now, if I had just kind of thrown everything that I do into one single YouTube channel, that would rely solely on people liking me as a person and wanting to know everything that I do. So if you have a little bit of A and B and C, and it's kind of all over the place on your channel, when people go to your channel to see if you're going to be something that helps them, they're not going to know what to expect. And unless they understand every realm that you're talking about, they're probably going to leave and find someone who specializes in it rather than somebody who just dabbles in a little bit of everything. So you want to make sure that you have it very niche down and you're very, very vocal about what you're teaching them and how they're going to benefit from being around you. So once you have your topic picked out, then you're going to have to figure out your schedule. Now, I'm going to do a little overview here, but in the next video, I'm actually going to be helping you to plan your schedule for your YouTube channel. So hit the subscribe and notification bell. I'm going to be breaking it down in the next video. But we are going to make sure that we kind of talk a little bit about this. So when it comes to scheduling, you don't have to overwhelm yourself. You can start small and you can build. If you can commit to one video per week, you're doing great. Do one video per week and keep it at that. If you have the availability and the bandwidth within your business to do 2 videos per week, do that. And if you have the ability to do 1 per day, go for it. But I don't recommend starting there. I do recommend starting small and growing, especially in the early stages of your YouTube channel. You have the ability to play around with the days and times you're going to be releasing your videos and how often you're posting. So I highly recommend starting small. Commit to something small to make sure that you can do it, especially as you're figuring it out as you go, and then build from there. With my own YouTube channel, with this YouTube channel right here, I started out by doing 2 videos per week, and for a very long time, I committed to like a year and a half, 2 years of this. I did 2 videos per week and a live stream per week on this channel. And as I grew and as I developed, I knew that I was physically capable of doing way more. And when I checked my statistics, I knew that I was getting a lot of views regardless of how often I was posting because of the type of content that I was posting. So I was free to then do more. I wasn't going to burn out my audience. Now I do at least 1 video per day, every single day here on this channel on a different topic. And so every Monday is one topic, every Tuesday is one topic, every Wednesday is one topic. Which is why when you see this follow-up video, it's going to be 1 week from today and not tomorrow's video because that's on a different topic. And so I have the ability to create more videos because my audience responds really well to that. You need to figure out what works for you and your physical abilities to create this, and then you need to figure out what works for them so you're not burning them out with too much or too little content. And again, we're going to break all that down in the next video, so hit that subscribe and notification bell. But now we actually need to move forward with this. When it comes to the technology you need in order to create a YouTube channel, I always say start with what you have access to and knowledge of, and then grow as you go. While it is helpful to have professional equipment, it's not necessary. You can grow as you go. So right now, we all have smartphones and they all have cameras. If that's what you have and understand how to use, film your YouTube videos on your phone. But if you have access to a vlogging camera, and you understand how to use it, use that. If you have access to professional camera gear and you know how to use that, use that. We're going with better quality, because better quality is always better, but not if you don't understand how to use it or have access to it. So you don't have to pay thousands of dollars for a high-end camera in order to do YouTube. Start with your phone. That's acceptable. It's quality enough that it will work. And then as you are growing and you're building your business up, you can afford better equipment and you can level up. You can do this for all areas of this. So if you have access to ring lights or to soft boxes or to other professional artificial lighting, use that. If not, use natural light. That's okay. You just have to kind of work your schedule around when you're going to have enough light in your house or outside of your house in order to do your filming. Work with what you have and grow. Now, I do have lots of help on technology, and I'll link it down below. Everything from lighting to camera gear, etc. And you're going to be able to go through that. So if it's something you understand how to use and you have access to, or you have the money to purchase, go for it. Otherwise, work with what you've got. Remember, you can start off on a Canva-based level. It is basic, easy design to create your thumbnails, but if you have access to Photoshop and you have the knowledge of Photoshop, that's a dramatic level up. So you're going to be able to work with whatever level you're at and then grow and learn and expand for the future. So I'll link all of those resources down below for you because there's really great helpful things to decide what's going to be the best fit for you and tutorials on how to learn to grow with this. And I love my technology. I love my gear. So I will continue to be dropping new versions of this as well every single week. I'll drop new technology to help you level up what you're doing on YouTube. So stick around for that too. Once you figured out your gear, you're going to set up your YouTube channel through Google, and once you're there, we actually have to do a couple of things on the inside to get your channel ready to go. Now, we are going to take a look at the old school live stream action plan page that is no longer in effect because we merged it with my main channel here, and we're going to take a look at how you can be creating these things. So let's talk overall buttons and some of the design elements that you're going to need. So you're going to be able to see up in that top right-hand corner, you have access to all of the things you need for your account, your channel, your YouTube. You can switch accounts, you can sign out, you can change your theme, all of those things. The create button next to it is where you're going to upload videos or go live, and once you get to 500 subscribers, you'll actually have access to the community tab as well, where you can be posting kind of like a Facebook page post inside of your page, which will mostly show up on mobile devices, but sometimes on desktop devices as well. So you have the ability to put your uploads there. Now, looking over to the left-hand side, you're going to see where you have access to your dashboard. Your dashboard's going to tell you your analytics and your summaries, and you're going to be able to upload videos from there. This is your home base when it comes to your YouTube channel. Below that, you're going to be able to see your content, and then you're going to be able to see your playlists as well. You will have access to your analytics, and then below that you'll have access to your comments. Now, comments are where people are going to be posting things, and you have the ability to toggle on and off whether or not people have, or you have responded to those posts. So you can actually toggle that off and see where people have commented that you've already handled. So if you're somebody who wants to respond to every single comment, this is a great way to make sure you're not missing things. Most things show up here. I will say not all things do. And things within a thread will not show up here unless you toggle off I haven't responded. So if somebody leaves a question and you respond to it and then they respond to that, you'll get a notification, but you're not going to see it here unless you toggle that off and then search down through it. So it may be better for you just to go to your channel and then click the notifications from there if that's something you need to find. Now, after that, you have the ability to go to subtitles. So if you are putting in those subtitles, which is something you have to do manually, so if you are having those translated into other languages or you are just putting the closed captioning in there, that's where you can handle that. You also have the access to copyright. So if you have any copyright strikes here, you can go ahead and defend yourself, or you can agree this was a copyright strike, my bad, here's how we're going to fix it. You then have monetization, and until you reach your monetization levels, it will tell you how close you are. So it's going to say how many subscribers you have versus how many you need, which right now is 1,000, and you have to have 4,000 public watch hours. So you have to have those public videos. Anything unlisted or private does not count toward this. And if you had something that was public and then you made private, those hours no longer count. Once you are there, you have the ability to set up a notification so that when you hit those numbers, they'll let you know, but also actively watch that as well. And it will tell you how many strikes you have against you if that's something you're going to be combating with. Just make sure you follow the terms of service so that you do not get those strikes, because that could mean that you don't have access to monetization. So again, when it comes to monetization, you need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours within the context of a year, and it does go 365 days. And so it just continues to cycle. It's not like if I start my channel on January 1st, if I don't make it by the next January 1st, I've lost everything. It just takes off that day, and it will then reconfigure from the day that it is. So let's say it's January 2nd, it'll just chop off January 1st and it'll start from last January 2nd. So it's within that 365-day period, but it moves with you as you go. You then have the ability to do your customization, which is what we really want to be talking about here. So customization is where you can put in your trailers. So this is going to be the #1 video for people to be watching when they come to you. You want it to be an explanation and really, really helpful. And a lot of people do this very, very poorly, because they will put it as a channel trailer where they say, welcome to my page, you're going to learn this, 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 and this. But most people aren't going to stick around for that. They want things that actively help them. So you need to put your best video content here without wasting any time. So if somebody has watched a video of you because they've searched on YouTube or Google and you've provided an answer to them, and they come over to your channel and they want to know, is this going to be for me? The best video that you have, the most helpful thing that you can do, is going to be, or needs to be, your trailer here. And from the very beginning of that video, you have to get their attention. So no, I call it history or backstory. You're not welcoming them in. You're not saying, I am this person and I do all these things. You're getting right to the meat of the conversation, and you're helping them with something so that they can then move forward. If you notice the beginning of my video, we jumped right into the conversation, everything you needed to know, rather than my long history on working with YouTube, which you didn't need to know to actually progress forward with this. So you jump right into helpful conversation, and then you put that as your main video, and you have the ability to change this as you go. So as you create new content, better content, stronger content, more helpful content, or time-sensitive content, you can actually move these as you go. So you're going to be able to link that video for people who have not subscribed to you, which means people who are new to you, but you also have the option of using the same or a different video for people who are subscribed to you, people who understand and know you. This is going to be the best video for them. Now beneath that, we are going to have access to things like your short videos. So now we have access to shorts on YouTube. It's very similar to TikTok, very similar to Instagram Reels, and they're just short, under 60-second vertical content videos that you can create within the YouTube app, or you can just upload them into YouTube, and those will work toward what you're doing. Now those right now, the watch minutes or hours of those do not count toward your monetization. So if you are implementing a strategy where you're using shorts, that's great. It's a great way to get people to watch your content and to see who you are and to get those little quick wins, but it does not count toward monetization, and you're not going to be making money off of them once you are monetized, either in the given state of things. That could change in the future, and if it does, we'll talk about it down in the comments. I'm sure you'll be in the comments as well. So right now, that's not a thing, but in the future, definitely could be. You then also have sections for your uploads, and you can add in sections. So this is where you're creating and crafting playlists. So the video content that you're creating should be done in a way that kind of flows from one video to the next, and they can kind of binge it like a Netflix series, and they're just going to be able to watch one episode and then learn something new in this next episode, and then learn something new in this next episode. And you're going to be able to create playlists very much like on something like Spotify, where you can kind of create things that make sense and kind of go together. So you'll be able to then craft different lists and put videos in multiple lists. So if you have several topics you talk about and it applies to several topics, you can put it in several different versions of your playlist. But this is the section where you're actually going to be changing this up so that it displays the way you want it displayed on your channel. So you can create playlists, but then create a playlist of your playlist and put it out there for people to see. So if you need to move things around, you're just going to be able to grab those little lines and just kind of move them on your screen as well. You have the ability to click those little options and you can remove those sections. You can also add in sections so that you can dictate what you want people to see when they come over to your channel. So your customization, that way you can kind of brand what you're doing when people come to your platform to see. Now moving back up toward the top, we were on layout, now we're going over to branding. On branding, you will have the ability to put your picture or your logo or whatever. I do recommend that you have something that people will easily be able to recognize, something that's going to show off and be like, that's this person every single time, whether it's your logo or your face. If you are building a personal brand where it is, you know, kind of created around who you are and what you do, use your face. If you are building a channel where you're really not going to be shown very much on it, use a logo. Whatever floats your boat. You're going to then be able to put that in there and you'll be good to go. You then have the ability to create your banner image. Now this is going to go up top and there are multiple versions of layouts for this because some people will be on desktop, some people will be on mobile, and it's going to look a little bit different on all of these. So it's a little bit on the weird side. I do recommend Googling like YouTube banner templates. It's really going to show you a nice layout of what makes sense, and I'll link some of that content for you down below so that you know exactly what you can and cannot be doing in this current given state, but it does show you the pixel rate there as well, so just be aware of that, and that will probably change over time as it does with all social platforms, the sizing information and what you can and can't do, so just kind of stay on top of it as the platform updates. Now scrolling down even further, you can have a video watermark, and the nice thing is this is meant to encourage people to subscribe. So a lot of people will use things like logos or just like an image. I recommend, and most people recommend, you create your own little subscribe button because that tells them to take action. And you're going to want to go with something that either gets their attention, like the color red, or you're going to want to go with something that matches your branding but still gets their attention. I do recommend putting a bell on it. I recommend putting the word subscribe on it, but it's up to you. This is going to sit in that bottom right-hand corner of your video and people will be able to click it to subscribe. This is a clickable thing, but you're not putting this in your videos. This is an overlay that YouTube does. It's different, and a lot of people don't realize that. So you don't have to do that inside of your videos. It's done here in YouTube. Now you have the ability to either do it for the entire video, or you can put it just at the end of the video, or what I recommend is a custom start time. So you're gonna want people to jump into your video, start watching what you're doing, and then have it pop up. So you can set it for 5 seconds, for 10 seconds, for 30 seconds into your video. You want it to be at a time frame where they clearly have the video without it there, and then they see it visually popping up. And I recommend having it for most of your videos so it's there and they have the ability to click it, and it's not something that, you know, only shows up toward the end, because not a lot of people will make it to the end. So I would recommend either 5 or 10 seconds, maybe 30 seconds if you really want to push it, but I wouldn't go beyond that because it makes it really hard for that to then be something that's going to get their attention. So you have the ability to put all that in there, and that is all customized to your branding and your design. You can make it a solid image, you can make it a transparent image. You're just going to have to play with it to see what works best with your videos, specifically and especially with what works with your background. A lot of times I film my videos with my books and things can be a little bit harder to see because I've got a lot going on here, but if you have like certain colors on your walls or whatever it happens to be, it might be harder to find those buttons. So test, 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 and change it when you need to, because this is not a one and done. You can change this as you go. You then of course have access to the audio library and to your settings and to feedback and all of those things, but you want to make sure that you are doing your basic information. And of course there is the basic information tab as well, so if you go up to that top right, you go from layout to branding over to basic information, and you can put your info in there. You're going to want to make sure that people know why they should be following you. This is not your biography. This is why they're going to get value from your channel and why they should be following you, and any links, any helpful things, any freebies you're giving out, this is the place. You're going to have your channel URL there. You're also going to have access to your links, which you can then put in there for freebies, for social content, and whatever it is you need to do. You can also kind of dictate where those are going to be shown and how people are able to contact you from there as well. If you need to see how any of this looks, up the top right hand corner you can click view channel and it'll take you over to see what it looks like both from a subscriber and a non-subscriber standpoint so that you can create your content. So once you know your niche and you figure out when you're going to be posting, that schedule for posting, and you are going to be able to figure out the different types of technology that you're going to be using to do this, and you've started to set up the basics of this, we're then going to have to take a look at how we're putting in our videos. So let's move over to our videos. I'm just going to click on one of these, and we're going to take a look at how this is going to work. So once you've uploaded it, it's going to come up with a screen that looks a little bit different from this. It has all the same information, but as you're uploading, you can do it. Now, if you're uploading and you're just drafting and then you want to come back in and answer all these questions later, you can totally do that. You're going to put your title in there, and I do have videos on how to come up with really good, strong, SEO-friendly titles so that you can get searched and found more easily. I'll link those down below for you. And then you're going to want to make sure that you are using your description wisely. You're going to be putting some keywords in here without keyword stuffing. You want to make sure that you're linking to anything that's valuable or helpful. And if you are doing like any affiliate links or things like that, you have to have proper verbiage legally to let them know that you might be making money off of some of these links. You have to disclose that, otherwise you can get in huge trouble. So you want to make sure that you're putting any important links in here. You want to let them know your schedule. You want to let them know other helpful videos. If you're linking within YouTube, that's going to be really good because it's sending them to other YouTube videos so you can get more views. And then you're going to want to put things like your contact information. The wise thing to do is put your gear list, because people will watch your videos and not necessarily need to ask your camera or what you're using to edit or all of these things, but if you have them there, you could, using your affiliate link, make a little bit of money that way. So it's always good to kind of just have that listed there. People tend to look for that. You can also use, affiliate links and tools and services and things like that. You want to make sure you're giving those calls to action about subscribing and when people can be finding you. So if you're posting on specific days, or if you're doing live streams, or if you're doing, things people can show up to, this is a great place. And then at the very bottom, and this is an important one, you have the ability to use 3 hashtags. Now you can put them in the title. I don't recommend it. I recommend putting them at the bottom of what you are doing inside of your description. And these work very similarly to hashtags on other platforms where people can click on them and go to other content that is similar, or it helps the algorithm to understand kind of what you're talking about. So you get 3 of them. Use these very, very wisely. You then have the ability to put in your thumbnail. If you need help with thumbnails, I have so much information. I have posing guides, I have courses, like I've got the whole works and free videos on how to do this. I will link those down below for you. But your thumbnail is like a book cover. It's going to make or break what you're doing. So you have to have a good thumbnail, because it's what people click on or choose not to click on. You can then, of course, add things to the playlist that you have created. You can say if it is made for kids or if it's not made for kids. If it's not specifically made for kids, you're going to click no. You can then click on show more, and you can put your tags in there. You can put languages. You can put all of this really great information. And then you want to make sure that you've got your visibility set. And you want to make sure you can schedule things if you need to schedule things. You can add your subtitles if you need to. You've got your end screen, which is really important. You can link 4 things on screen for your end screen, and that can be a subscribe button and 3 other videos or playlists. I highly recommend you take advantage of that, and it's during the last 20 seconds of your video. So you can put an end screen, or you can just put it over yourself as you are talking, which is what I do to make sure people are actually sticking around and looking for those, because I'm continuing to speak as I do that. You then have the ability to add cards. Those are little pop-ups on your video, and when you are using those, that is going to link them to other videos or potential links if you are doing it, depending on how you have your YouTube set up and where you are in your YouTube career. So those are just set via timestamps through this, and we've got lots of help and tutorials on how to do all of these things, but you can kind of see how that works in there. So make sure you're checking the links below, because I'm actually spelling out all of these things for you. But we are not quite done with this yet. We do have a little bit more we need to talk about. You want to make sure you're creating your schedule both for yourself and for your audience, and you know what videos are coming up. We're going to talk all about this in the next video, so again, hit that subscribe and notification bell. But you want to make sure that you have that schedule and you're sticking to it. You do not want to do a couple of weeks of this and think, I can change this up, I can do all of these different things and be all over the place. We're training the algorithm, especially in the early stages, to realize that you are a consistent content creator. They want to know when you are creating your videos on specific days at specific times to send out to people. This helps your credibility and really builds up when they're going to be marketing you inside of the platform. And don't get me wrong, they're not going to be marketing you very much, especially at the beginning. But they want to learn that you're consistent, that you're actively going to be here. Because think of it this way, they are representing what you're doing. And if you're inconsistent, if you're not posting quality content, they're not going to show that to people because that's a bad reflection on them. However, if you're creating helpful content, even if it's not being seen very much in the early stages, if you're creating good content that some people are watching and you're doing it on a consistent basis, they're more likely to say, oh, here's something that could potentially help you, rather than here's somebody who posted once last week and then twice this week and then not for a month, and then, you know, if you're all over the map, that's not reliable and they're not going to show very much of that. So you have to take that into consideration as you are doing this. Start small, grow from there, stick to the schedule. I have some really good tips for you when it comes to creating your content so that you don't get burned out, you don't get off schedule, you're not stressed or overwhelmed with your content creation. Now, the first thing you need to understand is that you do not have to jump right into this. You can take a second and prepare and get ready and create content that you can then release at a later time. Because if you miss an upload, it's not going to be the end of the world. Life happens, emergencies happen, it's okay, but we need to be as prepared as possible so that we're not all over the map with this. You want to make sure that you have advanced content created. This is going to take a lot of workload off of your plate and a lot of stress off of what you're doing. So I recommend that you create a list of 10 videos, your first 10 videos, and then you're going to film all 10 of these videos and have them done before you launch your YouTube channel. This is going to help in a number of ways. The first thing is that as you're creating these videos, you're going to learn what works and doesn't work for you, which means your early content not going to be so great. And as you're creating these 10, you're going to really understand how to streamline this and how to make this better for yourself and the ways that you are going to be filming. Now, there are a lot of different ways to film. I have videos on them. I'll link them for you down below. Make sure you're checking those out because we're not going to get into it here. But when it comes to creating this content, you will then have the ability to look back at what you did and say, maybe I do want to fix this before it goes out to the public. Create 10 videos. Then you're going to draft them inside of YouTube and schedule them. These 10 videos give you a buffer. Now you are on video 11, but you're just posting video 1. That means if life happens, if something comes up and you can't film, that's okay. You still have that buffer of episodes that you're going to be putting out. So you're going to work ahead of schedule. Before you ever put anything out on YouTube, period, I want you to have 10 videos ready to go in the bank, ready and waiting for you to hit those buttons or to schedule them. This is going to allow you to free up a lot of time and learn as you go. Now, there's so much more that I can be teaching you about YouTube, and I am teaching you every single week because we have a dedicated day to growing on YouTube and to really monetize what you're doing and create more profit inside of your business. So make sure you're following along for upcoming episodes. But the final thing I want to leave you with is your marketing, because you can't just rely on Google and on YouTube to market your videos because it's not going to, especially in the beginning. You need to be actively marketing this through your newsletter, through your other social media platforms. So you should be taking clips of this, or you should be having conversations in Instagram stories leading to this, and you can actively link inside of Instagram now back to your YouTube videos. You can then use your links or use old videos to then put inside of your YouTube community or your Facebook community or your newsletter. You can embed these on your website. There are so many ways to drive viewership to your YouTube page through Pinterest and through social media and through, in-person appearances and all of these different things. But your goal, especially in the beginning, is to get those eyes there. You need the subscribers and you need the watch hours in order to monetize this. And the closer you get to monetization, the more the algorithm is going to kick out your content. The more you prove that you're a reliable source of information that people actively want to see, the more you're going to get kicked out in the algorithm. So you need to be putting this effort in to market on behalf of your videos to grow your viewership in order to get to where you want to be with your YouTube channel. Remember, this is a process. This is not an overnight thing. Most people, it takes several years to get monetized. You might be faster, you might be slower, but don't give up. This is a great platform to make money on, to build trusted communication with the people that you are working with in your community, and to really build up what you're doing and have a really strong online presence. This is going to be good for getting upcoming speaking engagements or showing sizzle reels or showing proof that you know what you're talking about. This is how people are going to decide whether or not to hire you, to work with you, to consult with you, or to invest large amounts of money with you. So YouTube is incredibly valuable, not just for its monetization purposes, but for building up community and trust within your following. If you have questions on this, I'm here to answer your questions on YouTube. I've been doing this for a long time, video production, live stream production, and YouTube. So I would love to get your questions answered, and every single week we're dropping a new video on YouTube help, in addition to daily videos on TikTok, Instagram, on live streaming, on tools that can help you to grow on social media to create more profit inside of your business. So I'll see you in the upcoming episodes all week long, in the live streams every Wednesday, and in our weekly videos on YouTube here to help you grow this year as you are creating your brand new YouTube channel. Drop your questions below, and I'll see you soon.